All right, in this lesson, we're going to look at how you can use Photoshop to create scalable textures or halftone screens to use in Adobe Illustrator. All right, so we're here in Photoshop and we're going to make what is known as halftone screens. I have a wood texture here that I pulled from Google. I also have a picture of a nebula here. You can use any image that you want for this. You can even use photographs of people. I like to use pictures like this just for textures, and nebulas specifically give you some really cool designs, I guess you can say. So we'll start with our wood texture here. And the first thing we need to do is convert this to a bitmap, but we can't do that as a color image. So we need to go to image mode and first convert this to a grayscale. And we do want to flatten this image. So we're going to discard all of our color information and until we get something like this. Now at this point, I like to do a levels on my images just so I have like the full range of color value. So something like that. And now we can convert to a bitmap. Now this may be something you need to go back and forth with a few times to get the right effect. But we'll see if we can get it on the first try here. So we'll go to image mode and now we'll go to bitmap. Now what we're going to do here is click on halftone screen is what we want. And for output, this is basically going to be the size of our image. So 72 is standard resolution for monitors. I'm not quite sure why that is, but that is the case. But the larger this number is, the larger our halftone screen is going to be and the more detail it will have. So we'll start out with just something like 300 and hit OK. And we'll get some other options here. This will give us the option of what kind of halftone do we want here. Do we want round circles? Do we want lines, diamonds, squares, so on? Because this is wood and the grain's going kind of up and down, I'm going to see what it'll look like with lines at 90 degrees, which should be straight up and down. And then we'll just hit OK and see what we get with that. So this is not bad. Overall, I think it may be a little too noisy. I may want to spread out the frequency a little bit. So let's see if we can edit this. I'm just going to hit Control Z to go back to our original. And again, we'll go to Edit Bitmap or Image Mode Bitmap. And instead of 10 for frequency, let's try like 20. See what kind of result we get with that. So that's even worse. So we went in the wrong direction. So I just hit Control Z again to undo. So this time let's try 5 instead of 10. So that's, that's getting there. That's getting sort of the level I want. So the cool thing about this is that they will be scalable in Illustrator. If we get really zoomed in here, the way these work is that it's either black or white. So the white will be transparent, the black will be opaque, and it'll be pixelated like this, but it's never going to blur as we scale the image. So it's not really vector, but in a sense it is scalable. So you can use it for like logos and illustrations that you need to be scalable. So next we're going to go and save this out. So we'll go to File, Save As, and don't show this again. We'll save on the computer. And we're going to save this as a TIFF. This is very important. It needs to be a TIFF file. So we will name this Wood Texture Lines HT for halftone. I like to have a good naming convention for my file, so I can just look at the name and see what the file is. And we'll hit save, and then we'll hit OK, and then we'll we'll do this one with our nebula here. So we'll go to image mode, and first we need to convert this to a grayscale image, flatten it, discard our color, do a quick levels on this just to get a better range of color, and then we'll go to image mode bitmap. Hit OK, and for this one, instead of lines, let's do round and see what we get. That's good. Very, very dark and dense. I want to see if I can lighten that up or spread those values out a little bit better. So we'll jump back in here and maybe do a frequency a little bit higher, maybe like 20. And I think that's good. That might be a little too much. Let's try 15. And again, to get back to undo it, I'm just hitting Control Z. So that's pretty good. That's sort of what I'm looking for. And you'll see that nebulas specifically give you some really neat patterns and textures. So then we'll go to our, again, edit or file, save as. And we'll name this one Nebula Round HT. I like to make a bunch of these, and then that way if you'll sort of create like a library of these, so you just have them at hand whenever you want to use them. And again, it's very important to save this as a TIFF, so we'll hit save. Okay. All right, so now we're in Illustrator, and we are going to bring in our halftone screens. So we're just going to go to File, Place, and have them right here. So I'm going to just place them at the same time, selecting them both, and then we'll put one there and one there. Now again, these are, in a sense, they're scalable because they will not blur. The pixels on them will not blur when we scale them up or down. So you can use this in logos and illustrations and things like that that need to be scalable. We're going to do embed on both of these just so we don't have to look at that big X there. And we'll put the nebula to the side for a second and just look at the wood texture first. So say if I want this wood texture here to be in my letter textures here. So the cool thing about these is that we can change the color of them. You can already see that they're transparent. We can go to our properties for these, and I can change these to a different color. Maybe something like that, and we can drop the opacity on it a little bit and scale it down to where it's just in our word texture there. Now, I do have a quick lesson on masking that I will link in the description below. But basically what we're going to do here is just mask our texture here with our words. So I'm going to take my word texture, I'm going to copy it, Control C, and with my wood halftone texture here, we'll select that. We're going to go over to the properties, click on the word opacity, make mask. Make sure you have the right thing selected too, because I want to mask the texture here, the halftone screen. So make sure that that shows up in your opacity window. Then you're going to click Make Mask. It disappears because it essentially applies a black mask to it. We'll click on the mask thumbnail, go to Layers. Then I can Control-Shift-V, paste that word texture in there. And we're just going to make it, instead of black, we're going to make it white. And now we have our texture there applied to our word. Now to get back out of this, we're just going to click this, go to Properties, click on Opacity again, click on our other thumbnail, and then click on layers again. Now we're back in our normal layers here. Now the one thing about these that you can't do is add a gradient to them. So if I want this to be in my background and have some sort of neat gradient to it, I can go to my properties, fill, and if I select one of these gradients, it'll give me an error saying I can't use this as a gradient. But what I can do is use the halftone screen as a mask instead of using, like the box back here as a mask. So to do that, what I'm going to do, this is kind of workaround for using a gradient on your halftone screens here. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to hide. We'll hide this halftone screen, and I'm going to take this rectangle here and I'm going to make a gradient on that. So we'll select that and just apply a quick gradient to it. So black and white. Go to my gradient tool, and we want this to be a little bit more interesting. So we're going to do some different colors here. And let's see, we'll click this guy and make this like purple. So we'll kind of give this a nebula feel. So maybe something like that. We can move these guys around, edit their spread a little bit just to mix things up. All right, so now essentially what we're going to be doing is using our halftone screen to mask out this box. So we'll jump back over to our layers. I'm going to select our nebula halftone screen. I'll make it visible again. We'll go to properties, and we're just going to go ahead and make it white. And then I'm going to copy it. So Control C. In this case, I could probably just cut it. So Control X. And then we'll go to our layers, our rectangle down here, jump back to our opacity, make a mask, and throw our halftone screen in there. And now we have this really neat texture in the background. Now it's showing up white because it's just showing through to the artboard. But before I switch back and maybe change the color back there, I just want to show you how you can also reverse this. So if we want, we can make our nebula screen here. We can make that black. We'll give that a black color and it will sort of disappear, but we can then make a white square. Oops, let's make our square first. So we'll make the square, and we're going to make the square white, and then put that under our nebula. And that basically just reverses that pattern, which I think looks kind of cool. Which one do you want to use? We can also scale this up and down still, but I actually think I like the other one slightly better. So we'll just hide that white square there and switch our nebula back to white. Now to get back out to our normal layer editor or layer panel, we're going to click on the master layer there, go to properties, click on opacity, click on our other layer, and then go back to layers. Now if I do want to change the color from white to a different color, I'm just going to draw a square back there. We'll set this as maybe like a dark Let's go to swatches. So maybe a dark purple or something. And let's put that on the bottom, see what it looks like. Looks kind of cool. I think we could still maybe pick a better color for that. Red looked pretty neat. I think I like that. I think that I like the light blue. That one even better. So then if we say we want to just make our texture pop a little bit, maybe give it an outline, the word texture anyway, what I'm going to do is take our word texture here and I'm just going to, we'll copy it. So Control C and Control Shift V. I'm going to take that and convert that into outlines. So I'll say type, create outlines. And then for the properties, we'll give it a black or white. Let's see how white looks. Stroke and no fill. And I want to align that to the inside. So I'm going to click on stroke and just say align on the inside. So that looks all right. Maybe maybe black might look a little bit better, or even like a dark blue. Oops. Yeah, I think I like white or a lighter color better. Maybe something like that. So there you have it. And there's how you can use or create scalable textures to use with your illustrations, with your logos, and so on. I will link the quick lesson I have on masking down below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you have any suggestions for other videos that you would like to see, other quick tutorials you'd like to see, please comment below. Thank you.